What just went down in the world of artificial intelligence wasn't just a ripple. It felt more like a seismic shift, the kind that redraws the map entirely. And get this, it all seemed to converge around April 1st. Now, normally, that date has us all bracing for goofy pranks and fake announcements, right? But this year, forget the whoopee cushions. April Fool's Day 2024 felt less like a joke and more like the day the AI industry got a massive, collective reality check. Seriously, it was like watching dominoes fall, but instead of plastic rectangles, we're talking major strategic pivots from the biggest names in the game. We saw OpenAI, the company that practically defined the cutting edge of large language models, suddenly signal a change in its notoriously guarded approach. Then Meta, Facebook's parent company, dropped a bombshell tool that looks like it could revolutionize digital animation and filmmaking. And simmering beneath it all, the intense AI arms race in China hit a new level of ferocity, with giants like Alibaba and the disruptive DeepSeek locking horns. So yeah, calling it big might be an understatement. This isn't just about new features or faster models. It's about fundamental shifts in strategy, philosophy, and the very landscape of who controls the future of AI. Forget buckling in, let's just walk through this together, piece by piece, and try to make sense of what this whirlwind of announcements actually means for all of us. We have to start with the Titan, the name synonymous with the current AI boom, OpenAI. All right, let's talk OpenAI. If you've been tracking the AI scene even casually, you know their story, or at least the public perception of it. Their name screams open, right? It's literally in the name. Yet, ironically, for years, their operational reality has felt, well, pretty closed. Think Fort Knox, but for algorithms. Their most powerful models, the GPT series that captured the world's imagination, have been kept under tight wraps. Their justification always centered on safety. And frankly, it wasn't an entirely unreasonable argument, especially in the early days. The logic went something like this. This technology is incredibly powerful, potentially transformative, and maybe even dangerous if misused. Keeping the inner workings, the source code, the massive datasets used for training, the specific training methodologies, proprietary is our way of acting responsibly, preventing bad actors from easily weaponizing it. When AI felt like this arcane, almost magical black box understood by only a handful of researchers, that explanation held a lot of water. It felt prudent, cautious. But the AI world doesn't stand still. It moves at lightning speed. What was mysterious yesterday is becoming commoditized today. And on April 1st, yes, that date again, OpenAI dropped an announcement that signaled a significant departure from their historical stance. They declared they are actively working on releasing a more open generative model. Not fully open, mind you, but definitely a step closer to what the broader tech community, especially developers, have been clamoring for. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, even acknowledged this wasn't some radical new idea conjured up overnight. He admitted that the concept of releasing a more open model had been bouncing around inside OpenAI for a considerable time. It just kept getting bumped down the priority list, presumably overshadowed by the push for ever larger, more capable but still proprietary models. So, what changed? Why now? The landscape has fundamentally shifted. While OpenAI was dominating headlines with GPT-3 and GPT-4, a parallel revolution was brewing in the open-source AI community. Models like Meta's Llama family and the surprisingly potent offerings from companies like China's DeepSeek weren't just academic curiosities. They were rapidly gaining serious traction. Meta recently threw out a staggering statistic. Their Llama models have been downloaded over 1 billion times. Let that sink in. That's not just researchers tinkering. That's a massive wave of adoption by developers, startups, established companies, and even governments worldwide. Why the surge towards open source? It boils down to control, customization, and transparency. Developers need to be able to peek under the hood. They want to fine-tune models for specific tasks, integrate them deeply into their own products, run them on their own hardware, and understand why the AI is making the decisions it's making. Governments, too, are increasingly wary of relying solely on closed, black box systems developed by a handful of US tech giants. They're looking towards open models they can audit, adapt for national languages and contexts, and maintain sovereignty over. This growing preference for openness created undeniable pressure. OpenAI, despite its lead, could see the tide turning. They realized they couldn't afford to remain an isolated fortress. Hopping their technological edge alone would guarantee perpetual dominance. The market was speaking, demanding more transparency and control. They had to respond, or risk being sidelined in the long run. Now, let's be crystal clear about what OpenAI is actually proposing. They aren't suddenly embracing the full FOSS, free and open source software philosophy. They're not releasing the blueprints to the entire factory. Instead, they're opting for what's known as an open weights model. Think of it as a strategic middle ground. What does open weights mean in practice? You, as a developer or a company, won't get the intricate source code that defines the model's architecture. You won't get the terabytes upon terabytes of carefully curated and highly valuable training data that the model learned from. And you won't get the specific recipes and techniques used during the monumentally expensive training process. What you will get access to are the model's weights. These are essentially the millions or billions of trained parameters, the numerical values that represent the knowledge and patterns the AI learned during its training. These weights are the distilled essence of the model's capabilities, the brain that makes the AI tick. Having access to the weights is a game changer for many. It means developers can take this pre-trained foundation and fine-tune it for their specific needs without the astronomical cost and complexity of training a massive model from absolute scratch. Imagine you need an AI specialized in medical terminology, or legal document analysis, or creative writing in a specific style. With open weights, you can take OpenAI's powerful base model and adapt it, making the integration process significantly easier, faster, and dramatically cheaper. For countless businesses, especially smaller ones without billions in R&D, this lowers the barrier to entry for leveraging cutting-edge AI. So how is this different from true open source? A fully open source model typically provides everything. The code, the training methods, often details about the data, or even the data itself if licensing permits, and the weights. Open weights, by contrast, gives you the finished product, the weights, but keeps the manufacturing process, code, data, training methods, largely confidential. It's a significant step towards transparency compared to their previous black box approach, but make no mistake, OpenAI is still holding many of its cards very close to its chest. They are masters at guarding their training data specifics and internal methodologies. That's their secret sauce, their competitive edge. Even with this new open weights direction, don't expect them to suddenly hand over the complete keys to the kingdom. It's a calculated opening, not a full surrender. But this strategic shift towards partial openness isn't happening in a vacuum. There's more to the story, and it involves eye-watering amounts of money and some seriously impressive technological flexing. This move isn't just about placating developers or bowing to competitive pressure. It's deeply intertwined with OpenAI's business ambitions, and perhaps even a response to public criticism. Remember Elon Musk? He was one of OpenAI's co-founders back when it started as a non-profit research lab. He's since become a vocal critic, accusing the company of betraying its original open, non-profit mission and becoming overly focused on commercial interests, essentially morphing into a closed-source, maximum profit subsidiary of Microsoft. Whether you agree with his assessment or not, his critiques have resonated in some circles. And perhaps there's fuel for that fire. Coinciding almost perfectly with this talk of increased openness, news broke that OpenAI is in the final stages of closing a monumental funding round. We're not talking typical startup money here. The rumored figure is a staggering $40 billion. Yes, billion with a B. This round, reportedly led by the Japanese investment giant SoftBank, would be one of the largest venture capital deals ever for a startup, catapulting OpenAI's valuation into the stratosphere, rivaling established Wall Street behemoths. Raising that kind of capital requires demonstrating not just future potential but current, undeniable technological superiority. And OpenAI delivered. To sweeten the pot for investors and showcase their continued innovation, they unveiled a significant upgrade to their flagship model. Now boasts native image generation. Previously, if you wanted an image from an OpenAI tool, you'd typically interact with a separate model like DALL-E now. It's integrated directly into the core GPT-4o experience. You can feed it a text prompt, generate an image of a robot librarian organizing glowing books in a futuristic library, or even upload an existing image and ask the AI to modify it, enhance it, or create something entirely new based on it. It's a seamless fusion of text and visual understanding and creation. Sam Altman demonstrated this new capability during a live stream, and apparently, the demonstration was so compelling and popular that it literally pushed the hardware to its limits. Reports surfaced that the servers running the demo experienced issues with GPUs overheating due to the intense computational strain. That's not a poetic metaphor. The physical hardware was struggling to keep up with the demand generated by showcasing this powerful new feature. It's a testament to both the capability of the model and the immense interest it generated. What's particularly cool about this new image generation capability? Early examples suggest significant improvements in handling complex scenes. The model can reportedly generate visuals containing 10 to 20 distinct, well-defined objects within a single image, maintaining coherence and detail. Even more impressively, it tackles a long-standing challenge for AI image generators, rendering legible text within the image. If you've played around with image AI, you've probably seen garbled, nonsensical text appear when you ask for signs, labels, or book titles. Users on forums like Hacker News have frequently pointed out this weakness in earlier models. While OpenAI admits it's still not perfect, especially with non-Latin scripts which remain a hurdle, the ability to render reasonably accurate text directly onto generated images is a noticeable leap forward. Imagine generating product mock-ups with clear branding, or illustrations with readable captions, all directly from the AI. Crucially, OpenAI is also embracing responsibility with this powerful tool. All images generated by this new system will come embedded with C2PA, Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, tags. These are like digital watermarks or metadata flags that clearly indicate the image was created by AI. As AI-generated content becomes increasingly realistic and pervasive, this kind of standard for provenance is becoming essential for maintaining trust and distinguishing between human-created and machine-generated visuals. It's a necessary step in navigating the complex ethical landscape of AI imagery. They've also implemented content safeguards, aiming to prevent the generation of harmful or inappropriate images. However, in another slight relaxation of previous policies, OpenAI will now permit the generation of images depicting public figures, provided the usage adheres to their specific safety rules and guidelines. This opens up possibilities for satire, commentary, and creative expression, but also necessitates careful moderation to prevent misuse. So, OpenAI's current posture is fascinating. A strategic, partial opening with the open weights model, seemingly driven by competition and developer demand, happening concurrently with a massive influx of capital, and the unveiling of powerful new proprietary features like integrated image generation. They're walking a tightrope, trying to be more open to appease the community while simultaneously reinforcing their technological dominance and commercial viability. Now, while OpenAI navigates this delicate balance, Meta, Facebook's parent, seems to be charging full steam ahead in a slightly different, but equally fascinating direction. If OpenAI's move was about cautiously opening the door, Meta just kicked down the door to a room that looks like it's straight out of a science fiction movie. They unveiled a new AI model called Mocha. And no, it's not a new coffee blend hitting the Meta campus cafes. Mocha stands for movie character, and it does exactly what the name implies, but perhaps even more impressively than you might initially guess. This isn't just about creating static avatars or slightly animated talking heads. Mocha is designed to generate full-body, dynamically talking characters based purely on text prompts and audio input. Think about that for a second. You provide a script, the text, and a voice recording the audio, and Mocha generates a complete animated character delivering that dialogue. We're talking nuanced full-body motion, believable facial expressions capturing the emotion in the voice, subtle gestures, and even sophisticated cinematic camera angles, pans, zooms, tracking shots, all generated by the AI to enhance the scene. It's like having a personal digital actor and cinematographer rolled into one, ready to bring your scripts to life on demand. So back to Meta's Mocha. This groundbreaking model wasn't built in isolation. It emerged from a collaboration between Meta AI researchers and academics at the University of Waterloo. What makes Mocha particularly revolutionary is its workflow. Unlike many existing animation or avatar generation tools, it doesn't require you to provide reference images of the character you want, nor does it need complex skeletal rigs or manually defined keyframe poses to guide the animation. You literally just feed it the script and the corresponding audio. The output, short animated clips, currently up to 5.3 seconds long, rendered in 720p resolution at a standard film frame rate of 24 frames per second. While 5.3 seconds might sound brief, it's enough for a line of dialogue or a reaction shot, and presumably, these clips can be stitched together. Crucially, Mocha isn't limited to single characters. Meta explicitly states it's the first model capable of generating turn-based dialogues between multiple distinct characters within a scene, correctly associating dialogue snippets with the right speaker using character tags. Imagine generating a short conversational scene between 2 or 3 AI actors, completely animated from scratch. Under the hood, Mocha leverages some seriously cutting-edge AI architecture. It's built upon a diffusion transformer, a powerful combination of technologies that has recently shown incredible promise in generative tasks, like image generation models, stable diffusion, and midjourney. To synchronize the animation with the sound, it uses speech embeddings derived from Meta's own WAVTVEC2 model, which understands the nuances of spoken language, and employs text conditioning via cross-attention mechanisms to ensure the character's performance aligns with the meaning and context of the script. Meta didn't just build Mocha, they also built a way to measure its success. They developed a custom benchmark called Mocha Bench, specifically designed to evaluate the quality of generated talking characters. In their internal tests using this benchmark, Mocha reportedly outperformed existing state-of-the-art tools like SAD Talker and Halo 3 across key metrics, including lip-sync accuracy, facial realism, and the overall naturalness of the generated motion. This isn't just a tech demo, it's a clear statement of intent from Meta. Combined with the phenomenal success and adoption of their open-source Llama models, remember that 1 billion download figure. Meta is positioning itself not just as a leader in OpenAI, but also in expressive AI. They're building tools that could fundamentally change workflows in animation, filmmaking, game development, virtual reality, and content creation. Mocha represents a significant leap, towards a future where generating compelling, animated digital humans is accessible and driven by AI. While OpenAI cautiously opens up and Meta pushes the boundaries of expressive AI, another critical front in the global AI narrative is unfolding with incredible intensity: China. The AI scene there isn't just heating up, it's a crucible forging innovation under immense competitive pressure. A major catalyst for the current frenzy was the emergence of DeepSeek AI earlier this year. Their V3 model didn't just make waves, it sent tremors through the industry, both within China and internationally. What made DeepSeek V3 so disruptive? It wasn't necessarily that it outperformed every Western model on every benchmark, though it was highly competitive, but rather that it achieved this high level of performance while reportedly being significantly cheaper to develop and train than many comparable Western models. This combination of high capability and potentially lower cost was a wake-up call. It signaled that cutting-edge AI development wasn't solely the domain of US tech giants with bottomless budgets. This disruption was felt keenly by China's own established tech titans, particularly Alibaba. Think of Alibaba as one of China's equivalents to Amazon or Google, a massive conglomerate with deep investments in cloud computing and AI. DeepSeek's rise put immediate pressure on Alibaba's own AI ambitions. And Alibaba is firing back, hard. According to recent reports from sources like Bloomberg, Alibaba is gearing up to launch QN3, their next-generation flagship large language model, potentially as early as this month, April 2024. The exact timing remains fluid, with insiders suggesting it could drop any day now. This accelerated timeline makes perfect sense when you consider their previous move. Just a couple of months prior, Alibaba released QN 2.5 Max. The timing of that release was extraordinary. They launched it on the very first day of the Lunar New Year. This is arguably the most important holiday in China, a period when businesses typically slow down and people are focused on family gatherings. Releasing a major AI model during this peak holiday period wasn't about convenience, it was a powerful statement. It signaled extreme urgency and a determination to show the market, and competitors like DeepSeek, that they were not ceding ground. It was a strategic move designed to grab attention and demonstrate relentless momentum, even when the rest of the country was theoretically on vacation. DeepSeek's influence, therefore, cannot be overstated. They've become a pacer, forcing the established players to accelerate their own roadmaps. And DeepSeek isn't resting on its laurels either. Reports indicate they are also pushing hard to accelerate the release of their next major model, the successor to the V3 series, perhaps V4 or a differently named iteration. Their internal goal is reportedly to get this new model out before May 2024. If this upcoming model delivers another leap in performance or cost efficiency comparable to V3's impact, it could once again significantly shift the balance of power, not just within China, but in the global AI race. So what we're witnessing in China is an incredibly dynamic and high-stakes environment. DeepSeek's disruptive efficiency is forcing giants like Alibaba to operate at breakneck speed, releasing major models in rapid succession, even during major holidays. This internal competition is likely fostering rapid innovation, but it also highlights the intense pressure to keep pace in a global AI landscape where dominance is constantly contested. Watching these giants make such significant moves in such a short period drives home a few key takeaways. Firstly, the power of competition is undeniable. OpenAI's shift towards openness wasn't purely altruistic. It was a direct response to the success of open-source alternatives. Meta's push with Mocha is partly about carving out a unique leadership position, and the race in China is entirely fueled by intense rivalry. Competition, it seems, is a powerful catalyst for change, even for the most dominant players. Secondly, the tension between openness and control is a central theme. How much should powerful AI models be shared? OpenAI's open weights is one attempt to find a middle ground, but the debate is far from over. Finding the right balance between fostering innovation through openness and ensuring safety and competitive advantage through control will continue to be a major challenge. Thirdly, the speed of progress is breathtaking, almost intimidating. What felt like science fiction just a year or two ago, AI generating coherent text, realistic images, and now even fully animated characters, is rapidly becoming reality. Staying informed and adaptable is no longer optional, it's essential. For me, the biggest personal lesson from observing this whirlwind is the importance of adaptability and continuous learning. The ground is constantly shifting beneath our feet. Whether you're a developer, a business owner, an artist, or just someone trying to understand the world, ignoring AI is no longer feasible. We need to engage with these developments, understand the tools being created, and think critically about their implications. What excites you the most about these developments? Is it the potential for more accessible AI through OpenAI's shift, or the creative possibilities unlocked by Meta's Mocha? What worries you? And who do you think will ultimately come out on top in this global AI race? I'm genuinely curious to hear your perspectives down in the comments. Let's try to make sense of this together. Thank you so much for walking through this complex landscape with me today. I hope this breakdown was helpful and gave you some food for thought. Stay curious, keep learning, and I wish you all the very best of health. And hey, if you found this deep dive valuable and want to stay updated on the ever-evolving world of AI, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We'll keep bringing you analyses like this, trying to cut through the noise and understand what truly matters. Until next time.